Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wish there was like a secret code book for just clicking with people better?
Mhm.
Understanding them, having those conversations where you feel like you're really connecting. Well, today's deep dive is all about that.
It's like having that cheat sheet for acing social situations. We're diving deep into Leil Lowndes' book, How to Talk to Anyone.
It's packed with, get this, 92 techniques for upping your communication game. And don't worry, we've distilled it all down.
Absolutely. We're giving you the core, actionable stuff so you can walk away feeling like a communication pro, not like you just crammed for a sociology final.
Right. Lands really breaks down those subtle things that make people tick. From making a killer first impression to building those solid, lasting relationships, whether you're prepping for a big meeting, trying to fit into a new scene, or even just wanting your everyday chats to be more rewarding, this deep dive is for you. Ready to unlock the secrets of how to talk to anyone.
Let's go. Right off the bat, the book dives into this concept of making a powerful entrance.
Ooh, I like that. Powerful entrance.
The first 10 tricks are all about nonverbal communication, how to get people interested before you even say a word.
Okay, let's break that down. First up, the flooding smile. We're not talking about that quick, cheesy grin.
Whoa, no, not at all.
It's more about a slow, genuine smile that starts in your eyes and spreads across your face.
Like the sun coming up.
It really makes the other person feel like, hey, that smile is just for me.
It plays into our natural wiring to respond to genuine warmth. It signals approachability and that you're someone safe to connect with. It's huge, especially right at the beginning.
Makes sense. So you're setting the tone before you even open your mouth.
Exactly. Now let's talk eye contact. We've got sticky eyes and epoxy eyes. Sticky eyes is about holding someone's gaze just a beat longer when you first meet them. Not staring them down, but just enough to build that initial trust.
Oh, I've heard about this.
It shows you're really present, that you see them. Epoxy eyes is a step up, more of a lingering gaze that can actually create a deeper connection. And Lambs is very clear about this, context is everything. You have to read the room. What works in a casual setting might feel too intense in a business meeting.
Absolutely. You don't want to freak people out.
Exactly. It's all about matching the energy of the situation. Now, get ready for this one. Hang by your teeth. It sounds funny, right?
Kinda.
But imagine you're literally hanging by a thread from the top of your head. It forces you to straighten your spine, pull your shoulders back. Instant confidence boost.
I can almost feel it just thinking about it.
It's amazing. Good posture is silent communication, and it speaks volumes.
So we're projecting confidence before we even utter a syllable.
Exactly. Next up, we've got the big baby pivot and hello, old friend. The pivot's simple. When you greet someone, turn your whole body towards them, like a baby would when they're really focused on something.
Shows you're engaged. You're not half listening while checking your phone.
Right. And hello, old friend is all about that mindset act like you're genuinely delighted to see someone, even if you've never met them. That warmth makes a huge difference.
Like a little burst of sunshine, right?
Exactly. Now let's tackle those pesky nervous habits. Limit the fidget is all about minimizing those unconscious movements we all do when we're anxious.
Yes. The finger tapping, the foot jiggling.
All that. It just makes you seem less composed. Lowndes says the less you fidget, the more confident you'll appear.
Less is more.
Right. Now this one's fun. Hans' horse sense.
Like with horses.
Not exactly. It's about becoming super aware of other people's nonverbal cues. Are they leaning in? Are their arms crossed?
It's like reading their body language to understand what they're really feeling.
Yes. And that leads us to watch the scene before you make the scene. Take a moment to observe the environment and the dynamics before jumping into a conversation. Who's talking to whom? What's the mood? It helps you enter smoothly and avoid awkwardness.
Like scoping out the situation before you make your move. Makes total sense.
And last but not least, for this first section, is make a mood match.
Okay, mood matching.
It's about subtly syncing your energy level and tone with the person you're talking to. If they're calm and thoughtful, you mirror that. If they're super energetic, you step it up a notch.
So you're on the same wavelength from the get-go.
Precisely. So the key takeaway for our listeners is that these nonverbal signals are like the foundation of a great first impression. You're setting the stage for positive interactions before you even say a word.
It's like laying the groundwork for a smooth and successful conversation.
Now, once you've aced that nonverbal intro, what comes next? What do you say after that initial hello?
Well, that's where things can get tricky.
Right. Lowndes has a whole section dedicated to those crucial first few moments of verbal exchange, and it starts with the big no-no. What do you do not?
So we're not supposed to ask people about their jobs.
It's kind of a conversation killer. It's so generic it leads to predictable answers. Instead, Lowndes suggests having your nutshell resume ready.
So like an elevator pitch, but for your life.
Exactly. A concise, intriguing summary of who you are and what you're passionate about. Something that piques their curiosity.
Like a movie trailer that makes them want to see the whole film.
Yes. And along those lines, she talks about having your personal encore. These are a few polished, interesting stories that you can share. Think of those go-to anecdotes that always get a good reaction.
So we're not just spitting out facts, we're drawing them in with a story.
Now, when you do mention where you're from or what you do, Lowndes has some advice. Never the naked city and never the naked job.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's about adding a little something extra, a hook that makes you memorable. So instead of just saying, I'm from Chicago, you could mention a favorite local spot or a quirky fact about the city.
Give them something to latch onto.
Right. And instead of just stating your job title, you could mention a project you're excited about or a unique challenge you're tackling.
It's about being conversationally sticky, right? Giving people something to remember you by.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to a super important skill, active listening. Lowndes calls this be a word detective. It's about really paying attention to those key words and phrases people use and then building your responses around them.
So you're not just waiting for your turn to talk, but actually processing what they're saying.
You're showing that you're genuinely interested and engaged.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the swiveling spotlight.
Okay, what's that?
It's about consciously shifting the focus of the conversation away from yourself and onto the other person. Ask follow-up questions, show genuine curiosity about their experiences, make them feel like they're the star of the show.
Because ultimately, everyone wants to feel seen and heard.
And here's a simple but powerful technique for showing that you're engaged. Parroting.
Oh, this sounds fun. So we're just going to repeat everything someone says.
Not exactly. It's about selectively repeating a few of their key words or phrases in your response.
Sort of like an echo, reflecting back what they've said.
Yes. It shows that you're really listening and understanding their point. It's a subtle way of saying, I'm with you. And finally, in this section, Lowndes encourages us to ask for more detail with encore.
Encore. Like at a concert.
Precisely. When someone seems passionate about something they're sharing, prompt them to tell you more. It's a great way to deepen the conversation and show that you're truly interested in their perspective.
So we're wrapping up this section on those crucial early moments of conversation. What's the big takeaway for our listeners?
The key is to move beyond that superficial small talk. Be thoughtful in how you introduce yourself, and, most importantly, be genuinely curious about the person you're talking to. Make them feel valued from the very start.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, how do we take things to the next level?
Well, that brings us to the next phase, talking like a VIP.
Sounds fancy. What does that involve?
It's all about those techniques that make you sound more confident, more influential, and it starts with never the naked thank you.
Okay, so we're getting dressed up or thinking.
In a way, instead of just a generic thanks, always explain specifically what you're thankful for. It makes your appreciation feel way more sincere and impactful.
That's a personal touch, right?
Then we have the knee-jerk wow. Now, this isn't about being fake or over the top. It's about strategically using those enthusiastic interjections at the right moments, like a genuine wow, or that's amazing, or no way.
Adds a little energy to the conversation.
Exactly. Then there's the premature we. This is a subtle way to build rapport early on.
How so?
Even if you've just met someone, subtly weave in we or us into the conversation. It creates a sense of shared experience and understanding, like you're already on the same team.
Oh, interesting.
And to really cement that shared experience, Lowndes talks about instant history.
Okay, what's instant history?
It's about creating a little mini moment or memory with someone, reacting to something together, sharing a laugh, finding common ground in the environment, anything that creates a little bond in that moment.
I like that. It's like building a tiny connection right there on the spot.
Now, this next one might surprise you. Buy the watchdog a toy.
Huh. Are we talking about actual dogs?
Not always. It's about winning over adults by engaging with their kids or pets. It's a great icebreaker, especially if you're a little nervous.
It takes the pressure off and creates a more relaxed vibe.
Exactly. Another tip is to learn a little job lore.
Job lore.
Yeah, it's about making an effort to understand different professions. You don't need to be an expert, just a basic understanding of what people do can make a huge difference in your conversations.
It shows you're interested in their world. You're not just talking about yourself.
Right. And then there's the technique of mirroring language patterns with be their word processor.
Mirroring.
Subtly, not mimicking, but using similar words and phrases that the other person uses.
So you're speaking their language.
It creates an unspoken connection. Now let's talk about smiles again. The exclusive smile is about saving your warmest, most genuine smile for a key moment in the conversation.
Not just grinning at everything, but making that smile count.
Exactly, you're making it special. And to go along with that, there's come hither hands. It's all about using open palm gestures.
Open palms.
It makes you appear more approachable and trustworthy.
I guess closed fists send the wrong message.
Right. And lastly, in this section, Lowndes talks about emotional echoing. It's about reflecting the emotional tone of what someone is saying to show empathy. If they're excited, you mirror that. If they're sad, you show understanding.
So you're really tuning in to their feelings.
Exactly. So what we're seeing here is that projecting charisma and confidence isn't about some magical quality you're born with. It's about making those conscious choices in how you communicate to build stronger connections.
It's something we can all learn and practice. Now, what about those situations where you're trying to connect with a whole group of people, not just one person?
Ah, yes. Navigating group dynamics. That's where this next set of techniques comes in. It's all about becoming an insider.
Okay, I'm all ears. How do we crack the code of the group?
It starts with scramble therapy.
Scramble therapy. What's that?
It's about intentionally shaking things up in your routine to become more socially adaptable. Try new things, meet new people, put yourself in unfamiliar situations that makes you more comfortable in any environment.
So get out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. Then there's learn their culture. Every group has its own unwritten rules and customs.
Like a secret handshake, but less obvious.
Right. It could be anything from the way they dress, to the topics they talk about, to their inside jokes. Observing and respecting these norms is key to fitting in.
So be observant. Blend in.
And to help with that, Lowndes suggests read their rags.
Rags.
It means do your research, read the publications, websites, blogs, anything related to that group's interests. It gives you talking points and shows that you've made an effort to understand their world.
You're speaking their language.
And if you're ever unsure about something, don't be afraid to ask. Lowndes calls this clear custom. Politely ask for clarification to avoid any faux pas.
It's better to ask than to make an awkward mistake.
Now here's a power move. Be the chooser, not the choosy. Instead of waiting to be included, take initiative. Suggest activities, start conversations, put yourself out there.
Don't just sit in the corner hoping someone will talk to you.
Right. Be the one who makes things happen. And to make that easier, Lowndes says, come ready to play. Have a few stories, interesting facts, or conversation starters in your back pocket.
So you're prepared to contribute to the conversation.
And don't forget the power of humor. Join the jokes. Laughter's a great way to bond with a group. Get the inside jokes. Share your own funny stories. Don't be afraid to be a little silly.
Humor brings people together. It's a universal language.
And finally, there's the tombstone game.
Tombstone game. This sounds serious.
It is, in a way. It's about thinking about how you want to be remembered by the people in your social circles and then acting accordingly. What kind of reputation do you want to leave behind?
It's about living up to your own ideals within that group. So if we're summing up this section on becoming an insider, what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
It's not about changing who you are to fit in. It's about being observant, respectful, and proactive. Make an effort to understand the group's culture and find ways to contribute in a genuine way.
So we've talked about making a powerful entrance, mastering those crucial early conversations, projecting charisma and confidence, and even navigating group dynamics. What's next?
Now it's time to take those connections to a deeper level.
Okay, I'm ready for this. How do we go from casual acquaintances to real, genuine connections?
That's what this next section is all about, speaking the language of connection. And it starts with something we touched on earlier, echo the emotion.
Empathy, right.
Exactly. It's about really tuning in to what someone is feeling and reflecting it back to them. It makes them feel understood and validated.
Like you're truly seeing them.
And then Lowndes talks about accentuate the positive. Even if someone is sharing a tough experience, try to find something positive within their story to acknowledge. It shifts the energy and strengthens your connection.
So even in challenging situations, we can find those glimmers of hope.
Absolutely. And here's a fun one. Become a word collector.
Okay, I'm curious.
It's about noticing and even adopting those catchy phrases or unique ways of speaking that people you admire use.
So you're kind of absorbing their language style.
It creates a sense of shared understanding and inside jokes. It shows you're paying attention.
And then there's the importance of being direct and honest with call a spade a spade. No beating around the bush, just clear, straightforward communication.
It builds trust and respect.
Because no one likes a fake.
Mm.
And then Lowndes talks about name dropping, but in a strategic way.
It's about using people's names genuinely and respectfully throughout the conversation. It personalizes the interaction and makes them feel valued.
Like you're not just talking at them, but to them.
And to personalize things even further, there's notice the nuances. It's about paying attention to those little details about someone, a new haircut, a piece of jewelry, something they mentioned in passing. It shows you're really listening.
You're picking up on those subtle cues. And then we have be a copy class, which is another form of mirroring, but on a subconscious level.
It's not about mimicking, but subtly reflecting their posture, their gestures, their energy level. It creates that unspoken rapport.
Like you're syncing up with them. And Lowndes also emphasizes the importance of good eye contact and expressive vocal delivery with be the great communicator.
It's about being present and engaging on multiple levels. It shows you're invested in the conversation.
And then comes a really powerful tip. Never leave a stranger alone. It's about making that conscious effort to include people who seem isolated or on the sidelines.
It's a small act of kindness that can make a big difference.
And it speaks volumes about your character.
And finally, Lowndes advises us to small talk the big cheese. Treat everyone with the same level of respect and interest, regardless of their status or position.
Because everyone deserves to feel valued.
So what we're learning in this section is that building strong relationships isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about empathy, active listening, and genuine connection.
It's about those human qualities that make us feel seen and understood. So we've covered a lot of ground today. From those nonverbal first impressions to those deep, meaningful connections. Where do we go from here?
Well, the beauty of all these techniques is that they're practical and actionable. You can start incorporating them into your interactions right away.
No need to wait. Experiment and see what works for you.
And to really take your communication skills to the next level, we highly recommend diving into Leil Lowndes' book, How to Talk to Anyone. Consider this deep dive your starting point.
And as you continue on your communication journey, we want to leave you with this final thought. Think about that one nonverbal cue that you might be overlooking or underestimating in your everyday interactions. Maybe it's your smile, your eye contact, or your posture. How might consciously focusing on that one element change the dynamic of your conversations and the connections you make? It's something to ponder as you go about your day. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. Until next time.